Hi there, I'm back. This is my last week of Food Stamp Challenge here in March, and my partner this week is Barry Birr from KFEQ, and we just finished talking on air, and now I get to interview him. So this is a unique experience. Thanks so much for being a part of this, Barry.
Pleased to do it, and thanks for asking.
So tell us a little bit about your experience so far, and what you're going to take away from this.
Well, we talked about this a little bit on the air. That to me, this was a real eye opener to find out what it was like to get along on such a small amount of money every day, and to do it day after day. You could do it for one day, you could do it for 2 days, and it's doable. But to do it day after day after day, and just the idea that even a week. That's a little bit longer time, and it was not easy to do, but I got a new appreciation for how hard it is to not only do something like this, but when you get a little bit offline, eat something more than you should have eaten, run up your bill a little bit, how hard it is to catch up.
Sure, and you mentioned that a little bit, that you had some catching up to do, and how food began to creep into your thinking process. You had a little taste of food insecurity. Tell me a little bit about what that was like.
We started out the week, on Sunday morning by having breakfast at our favorite restaurant, and so right away I was in the hole and I had to catch up. So I did most of my catching up on Monday and Tuesday, and I ate very little those 2 days. A total of $2.05 each day for my whole day for myself. And by the end of the day on Tuesday and then into part of Wednesday, I could hardly stop thinking about cheeseburgers. For some reason, a cheeseburger, and I love cheeseburgers, but I don't eat them all the time, but I just kept thinking about cheeseburgers. And what you were saying earlier about food insecurity, or just a little taste of food insecurity, where when you get hungry, you start thinking about food and can't really get it out of your mind. And I think that was true, in my case, only on a very minor level. But to me, it was quite an eye-opener to have that experience.
One thing that I noticed during my experience, and want to get some thoughts on you, is that I don't typically think about food a whole lot, except to go do, you said that you do the shopping. I do the shopping too. And I think about food when I'm sitting there with Ginger and we're writing out the list for the week. And I go to the store and I buy it and I look around for things or deals or whatever, and make sure that what we're getting is the best stuff and put it in and purchase it and go home. That's the only time I think about food, typically during the week. How much did kind of planning and organizing and thinking about food, did that increase much during this time for you?
A little bit, but I tended to eat, since what I normally eat is a very kind of small amount because I'm trying to maintain my weight and kind of struggling with it. My normal food intake for breakfast and lunch was about the same. Where I changed was at dinner. I needed to eat less than, or cut my expenses for dinner, because we just tended to eat more normally at dinner time, and that would have blown my budget. So I ended up having at least 3 nights just one yogurt for dinner. And later in the evening, I'd be looking forward to going to bed so I could fall asleep and not think about being hungry, not think about waiting for breakfast to come, when I would have another yogurt. That would be it. So the planning was not that difficult until I blew the budget and ate too much, and then had to make up the next day. Then I would think about, okay, if I have this for breakfast and this for lunch, I'll start to get back to where I should be. And that's where I wound up being part of the time.
Did you ever worry that you weren't going to be able to catch up? That it was going to be barren for a little while?
Yes. Starting out the first day, when I had all that, it wasn't all that. It was just a normal little breakfast for Sunday morning, but in terms of my budget, it exceeded my budget for the day by 50%.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, I'm way behind now. And I started to wonder how long it was going to take me to catch up. Well, I finally did catch up, and I got a little bit ahead. And then my goal was to get enough ahead that I could do it again.
Yeah.
You know, that I could go to this place where Deb and I like to go and have, because we like to get together on Thursday evening and after work and have a little supper at this place. And so I was trying to save up enough to do that. I didn't save up enough to do that. So we ended up having half what we would normally have so that we could fit it into our budget. But I made it.
Yeah, you made it.
But I got a little hungry. I lost a little weight.
Okay.
And I got a new appreciation for how hard this can be.
Great.
And I should say that I don't have any allergies in terms of food. I have no special food requirements, nothing like that. I really feel for the people who do.
Mm-hmm.
People who've got to have certain types of food, people who are, say, have to have gluten-free food or lactose-free food. My wife, if I were shopping for her on this budget, it might be more difficult because she has a nut allergy. And so I read the ingredients on everything, and it would change what I would have to do. In my case, I didn't have to worry too much about it, and it was still a challenge. In the case of buying for people with special food needs, it would be a real hard thing to do. And so, I just have a real appreciation for how difficult this is.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because for people who have had limited food budgets for years and years, oftentimes creep away from that healthy food that you find on the outside aisles of a grocery store, that healthy dairy meats and produce, and creep into those inside because you get the processed foods are a lot cheaper. And so many of the people that we serve have real issues with diabetes, with heart disease, those types of things. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
And fresh fruits and vegetables are more expensive.
Sure, absolutely.
And so you don't do as much of that, or at least I didn't. I'm fortunate because I like yogurt, and yogurt's cheap, and yogurt is good for you.
Yeah.
So, in my case, I had another advantage in that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have those advantages.
I'm a yogurt fan myself as well.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. Any last thoughts?
I would recommend that anybody else who is curious about food stamps and is maybe a little skeptical about food stamps and what it's like to be on food stamps, to try this. See for yourself. I was skeptical, and trying this was a real eye-opener for me. So,
Well, great.
I'd recommend that for anybody.
Thanks for being my partner, Barry.
You bet.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing. Thank you.